What's up, coolers, and welcome back to Barca Dream Team. And today we're going to be covering all the stats and details about the La Liga title race. We're discussing which team won the transfer market and the physical and psychological effects of the FIFA World Cup. We hope you'll subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're super excited about today's video, so let's get started. And as much as neutrals are hoping for a frantic and chaotic La Liga campaign this season, it's looking like it's going to be a two-horse race. Sevilla have dismantled their backline and are in desperate need of a rebuild. That leaves Atletico, Real and Barca to battle it out. Atleti have emerged as a contender in the title race in recent years, but with a significant inactivity in the transfer market, they too seem to be slipping out of the running. It's looking like Cholo Simeone will struggle to get his side to fight for the title. But I'm sure they'll have a strong campaign. Los Colchoneros should comfortably finish in third place despite their lack of a prolific goal scorer. So we're expecting the two Spanish giants to battle it out, and the only real question is which will come out on top.
Because let's just first discuss this summer's transfer dealings. Barcelona have completed a total of 7 signings, bolstering a relatively thin squad in terms of squad depth. Xavi's side have completed some shrewd acquisitions, snatching world-class players from the grasp of Europe's elite teams. Barca seem to have plugged important holes in what has been a very leaky defence, whilst also making additions in midfield and in the forward line. The total cost of this summer's dealings is €193 million. Not bad for a club written off for being in debt and with a previously unsustainable wage structure.
Switching over to the Spanish capital, and Real Madrid have completed just 2 signings. Antonio Rudiger joins the club on a free transfer, and Los Blancos have secured the services of the promising Frenchman Aurélien Tchouameni. Doubts have risen due to Madrid's unwillingness to find proven replacements for their aging midfield, but Ancelotti's a coach who prefers to stick to his tried and trusted starting 11. And Real have completed these 2 deals for a total of €100 million, including variables.
And let's just take a look at the summer signings side by side. First and most obviously, Barca have completed more signings, not necessarily making our window more successful, but we've really addressed a lot of positions that needed more depth. For just an extra €93 million, Barca have bought in proven world-class players capable of walking straight into our starting 11. Even the signings of Frank Kessié and Andreas Christensen were excellent at the start, but to add Robert Lewandowski, Rafinha and Koundé to the mix really is the cherry on the cake. And on top of that, our deadline day acquisitions of Marcos Alonso and Hector Bellerin have only strengthened our weakest position, fullback. The fact that all these players took significant financial hits to join Barca is yet another plus point in our favour. I think it's very clear to see that Barca have had the more successful window from a financial and sporting point of view. But one thing's for sure, whoever Real bring in, Karim Benzema will be the protagonist for them next season. Benzema helped them to claim yet another La Liga trophy and win their 13th Champions League title. It's looking highly likely that Benzema will be claiming the Ballon d'Or later this year, and I think it was always going to be between him and Mo Salah, but the deciding factor is that Champions League win, which the Egyptian missed out on. And speaking of the Champions League, let's just take a look at Benzema's numbers last season. Real were in Group D, and Karim Benzema racked up a total of 4 goals, which is pretty respectable. Madrid topped the group and of course went on to win the Champions League.
But in that same year, Barca's Robert Lewandowski led Bayern to top the group and scored an amazing 9 goals in the group stage. He set the record for the most goals in the group stage with that performance in what turned out to be a very successful season.
But back over to Karim Benzema, and we have to question, is it sustainable to rely on a 34-year-old as the main source of goals? Last season, Benzema's goals made up 34% of Real Madrid's total goal tally in La Liga.
And you just compare that to Barca, who, yes, have brought in a 33-year-old Robert Lewandowski, but he's not our only source of goals. He's a part of a greater armory of attacking talent at the club, and to be completely honest, I don't think Real can say the same about Benzema this season. Of course, they have Vinny Jr., but aside from him, Eden Hazard's been largely disappointing, Gareth Bale's departed the club, and Marco Asensio's slowly declining. Luka Jovic has been a flop, Mariano's wasting away on the bench, and Rodrigo is very touch and go. Real Madrid's season is entirely contingent on Karim Benzema staying fit, and that's not something that Ancelotti can guarantee for Madrid fans. The French forward suffered 5 injuries last season, keeping him out of the action for a total of 55 days. And like we've discussed, Real don't really have much cover in that area. An injury to Benzema's really gonna increase that creative burden on Vinny Jr. As a Barcelona fan, it hurts to say that Vinicius is world class. He's someone who can create a goal from nothing. But even Los Merengues will have to agree that he can't shoulder that load right now. He's still a relatively young player, and they'll be praying that he doesn't crumble at a crucial moment. But if Madrid landed the signing of Kylian Mbappe, they'd of course be stronger, but also he could have provided some vital cover if Benzema is to get injured. In the top flight, it's the small margins that make a big difference. If Benzema's out, Real's season could be in danger. And you have to wonder if Real put all their eggs in one basket with this one. It came as a shock when Mbappe renewed with PSG, but that's not really an excuse for their lack of activity in the market. They still had the opportunity to go out and sign a short-term alternative, but the fact that they didn't could come back to bite them. I mean, you look at the signings Barca have made, and I'd say that we've got decent cover to supplement our starting 11 if another Catalonian injury crisis was to happen.
And whether they're playing for Barca or Real Madrid, one thing that's going to be rattling around at the back of every player's mind is the FIFA World Cup. But for those who couldn't qualify with their nations, like Frank Kessié, the World Cup could prove to be a valuable month of rest to split up the season. And no disrespect to Poland, but their over-reliance on our new striker, Robert Lewandowski, could lead to an early exit in this edition of the World Cup, but he could also benefit from this month without club football. But on the flip side of that, there will be many Barca players who are most likely to progress far in this World Cup. French, Brazilian, German and Spanish players seem the most likely to reach the knockout stages. Of course, we're happy to have so many internationals. It's just a sign of quality players, but you can see that there's 7 players on here, and the demand of the World Cup may be a lot to take midway through the season. But there are also many more than just these 7. There's Ferran Torres, Gavi, Alonso and Eric Garcia as well. But don't get me wrong, Real are in a very similar position to us. They've also got a wealth of internationals representing the strongest contenders of the World Cup. You'd like to think that this factor is going to take its toll equally on both clubs, so we could see a relatively flat return to La Liga at the start of 2023. But what's interesting about this World Cup is that it splits the season in 2. I don't know how coaches are going to go about this season. We might see some managers treat the split as a break between 2 seasons. They might opt for a slow and steady start, leading to a crescendo in the second half of fixtures. It remains to be seen how Xavi and Ancelotti will handle the added stress of players going on prolonged World Cup runs, but we'll just have to wait and see in November.
But let's just come out of the euphoria that comes with the World Cup and analyse the domestic league again. I would say that Madrid's main area of concern is their ageing midfield. Toni Kroos, Modric and Casemiro have become synonymous with Real Madrid, but Madrid have addressed the issue, bringing in Valverde, Camavinga and Tchouaméni in recent seasons. Madrid have recently pocketed just over 70 million euros from Manchester United after Casemiro made the switch to the Red Devils. That's some excellent business considering that he's 30 years old, but perhaps it was Barca who increased United's desperation after they failed to bring in Frankie de Jong. Anyway, now that Casemiro's out of the picture, there's some doubt over the composition of Real's midfield. They seem to have young prospects and aging legends at the club, but no one in between to take charge with some experience. But what's worrying Los Merengues is the increasing injuries faced by their midfield. You can see that these injuries are really hampering the fluidity of their play. Somehow they managed to disregard this problem last season, but as the seasons go on, it's an issue which can only get worse. And you take a look at Madrid's midfield cover options, it's obvious to see that this is significantly younger than the current midfield. Modric, Kroos, and Casemiro's combined age of 98 absolutely dwarfed the 65 years of their younger counterparts. And with Liverpool reportedly interested in Valverde and Camavinga struggling in his debut campaign, the pressure's on Tchouaméni to have a breakout season. And with that €100 million price tag, all eyes are on him before he's even taken to the pitch.
But not everything's rosy for Barcelona. We've had many injury crises in recent seasons. They've really halted all the progress we'd made up to that point. But with the arrival of such excellent signings, you'd think that we should be covered even if the same was to happen this season. I'm sure that we would be in a much better position than Madrid to bring in quality replacements for injured starters. And the return of Dr. Ricard Pruner from the days of the last Barca Dream Team only fills me with more confidence in the fitness of the squad. He's a specialist sports physician who Xavi's brought back, especially with the aim to utilise his experience of managing injuries.
But one area of concern for Barca was the fullback area. We really have patched up the left-back position by bringing in Marcos Alonso, and with Alejandro Balde's excellent form, Jordi Alba will receive some competition at long last. Balde's really impressed in pre-season, so he's a solid option. Spending a further season with the B team last year has really helped him develop into a competent left-back capable of displacing Jordi Alba. But is he quite ready for the challenges of the Spanish top flight? Let us know in the comments down below. The Sergiño Dest situation was quite worrying. The American's been frozen out by Xavi at the start of the season, and Ronald Araujo, Jules Koundé and Sergi Roberto have been favoured to start at right back. It's clear to see that he was not in Xavi's plans, but we really weren't doing ourselves any favours by ditching Dest with no real replacement waiting in the wings. Deadline day saw the highly anticipated departure of Sergiño to AC Milan on a one-season-long loan. This should see him get a lot of experience with the Italian champions in a competitive league. We also saw Oscar Mingueza deployed at fullback in recent seasons, but even he was offloaded to Celta Vigo. Our main priority was to bring in a top quality right back, but that was much easier said than done considering the many who failed to meet their mark before. Could Hector Bellerin be the man to fill the void at right back? Well, he signed a one-season long contract, and the expiry of that deal will coincide with Dest's return. It's a relatively low-risk option, and Bellerin's taken a significant wage reduction to rejoin his childhood club.
But who will end up taking the LaLiga trophy at the end of the season? Well, in summary, Barca fans will be hoping for the goals to dry up for Benzema and Vinicius, leading to an intense amount of pressure being placed on their cover options, and Madrid fans will be hoping for another injury-riddled campaign for Barca, or that our summer signings fail to gel in what is a very short period of time. But one thing's for sure, if Barca want to win the league, we cannot afford to make the same slip-ups we've made at the start of previous seasons. Costly errors at the start have rendered our revivals in form useless and made us incapable of chasing other teams. We've even been relying on other results going in our favour to give us any chance of climbing up that league table. You look at last season under Ronald Koeman, and after 20 games, we were in 6th place. It was a miracle that we even made it into Europe. We simply cannot afford to make the same slip-ups again.
But if you take a look at the last couple of games, and we're really finding our feet. Ansu Fati's back to his best, Dembele and Rafinha formed a dangerous partnership, and Lewandowski's firing again. We're not just beating teams, we're destroying them. 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, and that's exactly what we need, just like we discussed in the last video. And if it wasn't for some dubious refereeing against Manchester City, we could have come out on top against the Premier League champions too.
However, with the signings we've made, and with Xavi's guidance, I'm very confident that Barca can cap off a successful season by lifting the La Liga trophy. But let us know your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think will win La Liga? Barcelona, Real Madrid, or another team entirely? So if you like this video, guys, and you want to stay up to date with Xavi's Barca Dream Team, make sure to hit that notification bell. Subscribe to BDT, and we'll see you next time. Visca Barca!